What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. To get a loan, to enter a federal building, to enroll in college, to take a commercial flight, to buy alcohol or tobacco if you look too young, to get a library card, to take the ACT or the SATs. What do all of these have in common? Well, each and every one of them requires a photo ID. I mean, you need identification to get an ID. I mean, you can't just show up at the DMV and not give evidence of who you are and what's your address without, you can't get an ID without showing that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, here in some places you need a photo ID to get government cheese. You know, not government cheese, but government cheese, that Steve Harvey said. You know, and a couple of months back, I took the Airman's Knowledge Test. That's the Part 107 through the FAA, and this is so that you can fly drones commercially. And when I went to take the test, I had to give my keys, my wallet, my phone, well, basically everything, except for a full function calculator. All just to take the test, because the FAA don't play with the test, that test. And with all these things that you need a photo ID for, people have a problem with ID to vote. No, it doesn't make any sense. And there's plenty of more stuff that you need ID to do. But still people complain about, well, voter ID. Now basically the two real arguments that the liberals have against voter ID is basically voter suppression. Really? Based upon what? I mean, who doesn't have an ID in this day and age? And if you don't have an ID, well, what the hell you been waiting on? I mean, it's with so many things that you need to get an ID to do. I mean, you talk about money being locked out of black people, you're locking yourself out if you don't have an ID. And I guarantee you can go to any hood, any ghetto that you want, and ask the people if they know where the DMV, and if they can know where the DMV and how to get there, they're gonna say yes. So this whole voter suppression thing is BS. I mean, if you don't want your vote suppressed, then go get an ID. Another excuse that they use is, well, there haven't been any cases where people have basically enacted voter fraud. Well, actually it's not so true, because I've heard reports of, in this past presidential election, that of millions of illegals voting, you know, something like 2 to 3 to 4 million illegals voting. I've also heard reports of dead people voting, people who were dead, but they mysteriously got out of the grave to come vote for president. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. And how many of these illegal aliens do you think would have voted for Trump? And how many of these dead people do you think would have voted for Trump? Well, considering that conservatives they truly don't operate in that fashion, not to say that's all conservatives and all liberals are bad, but I would have to say that conservatives generally have basically a much more likely to be honest in things like that. In my experience, that's my experience. But anyway, you have cases in which people, I mean, it's on the record where people have enacted voter fraud. I mean, it's on the record, you know, thousands of cases where voter fraud was used, or people voted illegally. I mean, there were some counties in some of these states where 150% of the population voted. I mean, come on. I mean, you can't get 100% of people to vote. You're lucky if you get 80% of the people to vote, but 150, obviously there's some fraud going on. And I remember seeing a video of a white person went to vote as Eric Holder, you know, who was Barack Obama's district attorney. He went to vote as Eric Holder, and they gave him the ballot. They were about to give him the ballot until he decided, well, you know, back away, saying, well, I'm gonna have to go get my ID. He showed up without any ID, asked, is there an Eric Holder on the ballot, and they were about to let him vote. So if this guy was able to do that, well, how many other people are doing it? Again, I just understand with all of the stuff that you require ID to do. People complain about ID to vote. I mean, in the federal buildings, hell, they protect themselves behind federal walls. Behind IDs, you have to show your ID to get in, which makes no sense. And again, I can't speak for other states, but here in Louisiana, there is voter ID. So I just find it hard to believe that that can happen here. I mean, not only do you have to show your ID to one person, but you have to show your ID to a second person. You know, you give the first person your ID. You know, she'll look up your name to make sure that you're in the right district. She will sign by your name, and then you have to sign by your name. Then you go to the second person with an identical book. Again, she will have to find your name. She will sign, and you have to sign by that name, and then you get the vote. So I don't see how in Louisiana there's going to be mass voter fraud, because unless the people in the ballot place are in on it, you can't do it by yourself. But again, I mean, if anybody could just look at any obituary and know who died and go vote for them. But anyway, like I said, if anyone disagree, then let me hear what you have to say on it. And again, we have the evidence that people have voted illegally. And as you know, as far as these illegal aliens here, California wants them to vote illegally. And now, obviously, the liberals don't give a damn about illegal aliens no more they give a damn about black people, and this is all about votes. And they know that illegal aliens are going to come in and vote for liberals to get all the free stuff. And you know, as far as this quote unquote voter suppression nonsense, I guarantee you these black folks in these hoods, if there was somebody somewhere was giving away free stuff, I guarantee you they would show up to get it. But anyway, if anybody has any disagreement, hey, explain to me why you think voter ID is a bad idea, and I'll be listening. I'll be waiting to read comments. And as always, until next time.